It is an honor tonight to introduce our keynote speaker. Drafted to the Lions in 1992 from Washington State University, Jason Hanson is perhaps one of the most accomplished place kickers in the NFL. He is a 20-year veteran and a captain of the team for the past 5 years. Mr. Hanson ranks first in every statistical category for a place kicker in Lions history. In addition, he is the first person in NFL history to make 50-plus yard field goals, and also holds the record for making 24 consecutive field goals of over 40 yards. There are many more ways to tell how talented, hardworking, and determined Mr. Hanson truly is. To those who know him well, these accomplishments are not what define him. First and foremost, Jason Hanson is a man of God. The strength of his character rests upon his faith and is supported by the Lord. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jason Hanson.
Thank you very much, and thank you for including me in this evening. I actually was getting quite nervous over there as I began to realize that this is a big deal. That this is a very big deal for you as you have reached a major milestone in your life and your family's life, and what lies ahead, there'll be others, but this is a big deal, and so I thank you for including me. And as I was also looking out here, I started a little math in my head, and I started to realize, that in this special evening, you got a professional athlete to speak to you, and that probably means about 50% of you are excited, and 50% of you are like, well, an athlete, and we're trying to celebrate some education here. And then as I thought about that, I began to realize that probably 50% of you are like, well, we got an athlete, but we only got the kicker. And so, if I've done the math right, it's been a while since I got my high school diploma. That means that 25% of you are actually excited about me being up here. It also means that 75% of you are like, please be brief. I'll try to be brief. I do want to start off again, though, maybe why I'm up here as an NFL place kicker, and what that might have to do with you as you begin to graduate. I have played for 20 years, and it's been an amazing ride to play. To start off, and this might be for the parents, since as I got up here, I realized that some of you weren't even born when I started in the NFL. But I did. I played with Joe Montana, and now I play with Matthew Stafford, and played against Jerry Rice, and now I play with Calvin Johnson. Have played with NFL MVPs, and have been to the playoffs a few times, and very recently have been. But I've also been on the 0-16 team, and I also am the losingest player in NFL history. And so, yeah, thanks for not applauding that either. I've been able to play for a very long time in the NFL, and 20-something years removed from where you're seated. But I also can remember sitting there, and it seems not that long ago. And it's funny to see how fast time flies, and the amount of experiences that have happened since then, yet at the same time knowing that who I am today is because of what I was like then, and the choices that I made, and the decisions I made, and the milestones of graduating and going to college, and those other things. Who you are in 20-something plus years, whether you're a football player, or whether you're an actress, or whether you're a scientist, whatever you do, the choices that you're making now are going to influence, and they're going to shape who you are then. And so this is a big deal tonight. I wanted to say what I was going to say tonight this way, and bear with me for a second, as this may not make sense to start with. But I find this very interesting, and hopefully whether you like sports or not, you'll feel the same way, and you'll join the 25% by the end of the evening. In 2011, Phil Mickelson, who's a professional golfer, made $61 million. LeBron James, basketball player, made $44.5 million. Peyton Manning, football player, made $38 million. And Alex Rodriguez made $36 million. They were the top in their respective sports, with hundreds of other athletes in those sports making millions. We don't have to go past Detroit. Calvin Johnson, 7 years, $132 million. Prince Fielder, 9 years, $214 million. We're kind of numb with those statistics. We've kind of heard them, they seem unreal. But how about these? In 2010, Darren Appleton made $118,000 playing billiards. Nick Matthew made $166,000 playing squash. Kane Waslinchuk made $300,000 playing racquetball. Kelly Slater made $516,000 surfing. Kevin Van Dam made $915,000 bass fishing. Phil Taylor made $1.45 million playing darts. McLean Ward made $1.2 million equestrian show jumping. And Renato Nunez made $1.5 million bull riding. So right now your parents are extremely disappointed that I was chosen as your speaker this evening because they have worked so hard to give you an education, and I just told you that you could make $1 million throwing darts and fishing. That is not the point of this evening. The reason that I read those stats is sports are a big deal. They're a huge deal in our society. If you can make $1 million playing darts, sports are a big deal. And we watch them. The NFL generates $9.3 billion annually. Half of that is from television. Of the top 10 programs of all time, 8 are Super Bowls. Of the top 20, measured by total viewership, which includes not just homes, when it includes the sports bars and dorms and restaurants, the top 20 shows of all time are sports. And it's like that across the globe. So what I'm saying is sports are a big deal. And why I'm telling you sports are a big deal is because what I think the reason why is. One of the reasons is, there's lots of reasons that if any of you have played sports, is because they're exciting, they're fun, it's fun to hang out with people. But I think that I don't have to prove this statement. I think you know it's true that we play sports because we love to compete. And we play sports because we love to win. And we love winners. That's the point. That we love to win and we love to compete. And you guys, now that you're graduating from high school, have already been trained in many ways to compete. If you've done sports, then you have a slight idea of what I just shared, what we do as a country and as a world. You've learned how to study hard and in a certain way to compete in a good way for grades, for rankings, for the possibility of going to maybe certain colleges. And these things are going to continue for the rest of your life. That your life now is going to involve competition. In some ways good, in some ways bad. But you'll be forced to be ranked, you'll be forced to perform. And my point this evening for you is actually a very basic one. That as you enter a world that thrives off of competition, and loves winning, you've been trained in many ways. But the most important way is to win spiritually. And as you now have entered a world of gained independence, I don't know what the future holds, if it's college, if it's working, if it's something else, but you have reached a major milestone on the road to your independence and becoming adults. And all of the other ways of competition, there's lots of books, there's lots of TV shows, there's lots of help, there's lots of encouragement. But the most important thing that you can compete at, and the most important thing that you can win at, is in your spiritual life. Is in your relationship with God. And what do I mean by that? What does it mean to compete and to win spiritually? And what I would say to you is this, is that I think that it means to be, the way I said is this, to be convinced enough to be courageous. To be convinced enough and be courageous in your faith. And what I'm saying is, my hope for you, and I believe the hope of the people that have brought you here tonight, or why you came, is that so that your faith will become your faith. That it will be real to you. And that it will be something that grows and something that matures along with your knowledge as you go to college and your intelligence. and your skills, that your faith in God would be the anchor of your life going forward. I think it's the most important thing that I've discovered in my 20 years as a professional football player, in a world of high definition, in the world of the glossy screen and of big money and big fame. And what I found is it's not big enough. That only God's big enough. And my faith in Christ has been the only thing that can give a peace in a world where there's actually lots of anxiety to perform. And so as a basic challenge going forward, I want you to consider, and I want you to become convinced that what God has for you is better than the world has to offer for you. And whatever your hopes and whatever your dreams are, that the center of that would be God. I have a simple statement that I want to say to maybe anchor that too as you move forward from this night. And my simple statement is this: as you think about, well, what does it mean to win spiritually? What does it mean to compete? And what does that look like? I have a simple proverb that I made up myself, and it's called this: as you think about all that, stuff doesn't matter, and people do. Stuff doesn't matter, and people do. And the special challenge is, one of the reasons that you're going to college, if you're going, or one of the things that you're going to do when you go to work, if you go to work, is to earn money. And one of the hopes and dreams of everybody in this society is to have lots of nice stuff with that money. Your parents' hopes for you, my wish for you, would be that you didn't have to worry about paying your bills, and that you can provide for anybody that depends on you, yourself, and any others. That's a great dream. That's a great goal. But what the world wants, they want you to have more than that. They want you to have the biggest and the best and the brightest and the newest. And what I have found in my life is that, man, those things are exciting, but they don't last. The Bible says this: for the things that we see are temporary, but the things unseen are eternal. All the things that I love to have, and all the things that you would love to have, they break and they rust. And they get old, and they get out of style, they sag, they don't work, they don't last, they're temporary. That's exactly what the Bible said. The things that we see are temporary, the things unseen are eternal. One of my favorite authors once said this: that after you graduate, every one of you should take a trip to the dump, right, with your family, so that you can look at all the things that you're hoping for and dreaming for and that you saved up for, and where they all go. And so my simple challenge to you going forward is, as you have the hopes and the dreams, whatever lies ahead for your life, I want you to realize that stuff doesn't matter. It can never satisfy. It can never give you peace. And God in my own life has used this, being in an environment where I can have anything, right? The NFL, it's the richest sports organization in the universe. And guys have everything. But you know what I found is that they have nothing unless they have God. And I know in my life that I have no peace apart from Jesus Christ. And it doesn't come from field goal percentage. It doesn't come from success or being famous or being in the papers or being on TV. It comes from Him. The hope that I have for you tonight is that you would realize stuff doesn't matter. He does. And people do. C.S. Lewis once said this: you have never talked to a mere mortal. Nations, cultures, arts, civilizations, these are mortal. But it is immortals whom we joke with, work with, marry, snub, and exploit. And to have a vision that people matter to God. So I pray that you would never trade friendships or family for any promotion or any money or any goal that you would have, knowing that when Jesus was asked what's the greatest commandment, He said to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And the second is like the first, to love your neighbor as yourself. That people matter. Lastly, I do want to say this too, as you go forward, as we think about graduating. The future is in front of you, and it's awesome with possibilities. And again, with your dreams and the dreams that your family have for you. But there's a funny thing about it. The funny thing that I've learned as a professional football player, my whole life is geared towards taking control of the future, of taking control of what could happen. They don't like unexpected variables in my business. They want to know that the ball's going to go through the uprights all the time. And no matter what the conditions are, you're not going to miss. And when we take the field to beat a team, we're trying to take control of what's going to happen next. And so my whole life is built on controlling circumstances so they're in my favor and our favor so we can win. And what I've learned in the NFL is I don't have a single control over what happens in the next second. I don't have any idea what's going to happen in the future. The Lions can go 4-0 in the preseason and go 0-16 in the same season. I've had seasons where I started off the season injured and wasn't sure what was going to happen and ended up in the Pro Bowl. I've started off seasons where I didn't miss a field goal, and at the end of the season I was voted the #1 fantasy football dud in the entire NFL. You don't know what the future holds. And I don't know what the future holds. But I know the God who holds the future. And I trust Him. And so the hope for you again is, with everything that's in front of you, God knows. And you can trust Him with whatever's coming. And that's my encouragement for you. My final thought is this. You're entering a confused world. I don't know if you've read the paper. I don't know if you've seen that. But you're in a world that will tell you that there are no absolutes. And they're going to tell you that absolutely. And you're entering a world that says there is no God. And then is shocked in its headline when someone actually lives like there isn't. The world has lots of athletes, and lots of doctors, and lots of dentists, and lots of scientists, and lots of artists. And I hope that you contribute to that. But what the world needs more than any of those things is they need people whose faith is their faith, and who live it out, and are sure and convinced, and live in a way that is loving, and that is kind, that's honest, that's self-controlled, because they serve a God who is all those things. That's what the world needs from you guys. And so, again, I appreciate being able to come out and to share with you guys and to encourage you that your faith is the most important thing about you as you go forward with your degrees into whatever God has for you. And I hope it's something special. So again, thanks for everyone who put this on this evening. Thanks to the parents and whoever is here and brought you. And thank you for coming. And best wishes. And more than that, I would say, may God bless you as you go forward. And may you stay near to God as you go forward as well. Thank you very much.